Today, we are talking about one of the most powerful forces in our lives, and that is expectation. Whether you're dreaming about a vacation or a promotion, or you're thinking about that perfect relationship, what you expect determines what you get. On today's conversation, we're going to dive into why it's really important for you to pay attention to what you're expecting on your life journey. And this is your journey towards success or towards love of your life, towards that wealth that you've been building up, certainly maybe your health space. And I want to use one of the examples from my life where I think I was really setting myself up for failure. And this was based on putting all my expectations on other people or in the control of other persons. And the way that oftentimes shows up is because you're in pursuit of this thing. You're in pursuit of the amazing love that you desire, right? But while you're in that pursuit, you have to pay close attention to what you're getting along the way. This is because what you're receiving on your journey is oftentimes an indicator of how quickly or slowly your desires are going to come to you. But most importantly, it reflects the energy that we are putting out. And I think for me, that was one of the biggest things that I had to get accustomed to, is knowing and recognizing the type of energy I'm putting out. Sometimes you'll watch some people talk about desperate energy in the space of love, right? Because it's like she's desperate for a man, or him desperate for get with this girl, or whatever that desperation feeling is. And ultimately, when you are putting out an energy of desperation, it's actually an indication of lack. If you are desperate to get this job, right, versus knowing that right job is going to come for you at the right time, or you're desperate to get this love life, or desperate to get in this relationship, versus just dreaming up the amazing relationship that you want to have and knowing that it is coming to you, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to start feeling more experiences of desperation instead of stepping into an expectation that is going to deliver what you want when you want it. And you're going to feel good while you're going there. You're not going to get stuck in misery and complaining and concern. You're going to feel joyful more often than not. It's not like every day is going to be all roses, right? But you're going to feel more joyful going along the path than you are if you are focusing on all the things you don't have. So today's conversation is really, yes, you get what you expect, but there's a way that you can set it up so that you actually are mastering the art of great expectations. And when you can master the art of great expectations, you are more likely to get what you expect in a positive way versus getting all the negative things that don't make you feel good and make you feel like you want to give up on life, right? So think about, and this is the analogy that I've been using, think about the analogy of a vacation. So I'm going to give you this example about vacation, and then I'll give you the tea about how I was absolutely not using this in my love life, right? And many girls don't use it in their love lives either, right? So when you're planning a vacation, okay, the excitement builds up while you are on the way to the vacation. You start to tell your coworkers, you can't wait to leave the office. Your out of office indicator is already on. You set up your out of office replies and you don't even reach 1 month to the vacation yet. But once you get that approval, you start to imagine being on this beach or touring, London, and being on the London Eye, or whatever it is that your great vacation is, a hike in a mountain. You start to think about that and you start to literally feel the excitement about it. You're not on the vacation yet, but the joy and the contentment and the excitement around it is literally pouring through your veins. It's like you can feel it. Your co-workers can feel it. Your friends can feel it. It's like them start to say, yeah, we know you're going on vacation, because it gets so much ingrained in your conversation. And the thing about the vacation that makes it an example of having great expectations is that you're not attached to the outcome of the vacation in a way where you start to worry about what could possibly go wrong. So you're not in this space where you're like, oh, but hurricane may come and I won't be able to go to the beach, or maybe the roads, there's going to be a landslide and I can't take this hike, or oh my gosh, if I try to go skiing, there's going to be an avalanche and I can't. You don't do that when you're going on vacation. But if it's your love life, oh my gosh, you get really attached to the outcomes. You can very clearly start to catastrophize around all the different ways that things could potentially go wrong. You start to catastrophize, or you start to get concerned. So you're catastrophizing and you're getting concerned about what this person may or may not bring into your life that would make it so wonderful. So how do you detach yourself from the outcomes? This is the mindset that you want to create. You want to create a mindset of great expectations, like when you're ready to go on vacation and you start to feel that kind of transition in your bones before you go, and you're just excited, you're dreaming it up, and you're not feeling all stressed out about it. You just feel excited every time you think about it. You're not attached to whether or not the vacation will look exactly the way you want it to look. You're just excited about going. How do we do that for our love life? How do we do that for our money, like our wealth building and what we want to create? How do we do that for work and any kind of relationships we have with people, right? How do we actually make sure that we are setting up ourselves to expect and get what we actually want versus the negative expectations that usually come along? So the first thing you want to do is you want to detach yourself from the outcomes. And sometimes you may hear that spoken about and you're wondering, well, how do I, what does that even mean? Well, it's like a mindset that you have to cultivate with all of the things you desire. It is a way that you focus on, after you have this thing, how you expect to feel. You focus more on that. And you don't focus too much on how things should happen. Because sometimes you get so attached to the shoulda, woulda, coulda, that if that's not what is happening, you just get miserable, right? And you start to create resistance for the exact thing that you want. It's literally like you plant a seed for the desire that you have, and you just, every minute you're going back and digging up the seed to see whether or not it is manifesting in the way that you want. Is the tree plant coming up the way I want it? Is it sprouting just the way I want? And we do that with all the expectations that we have in our lives, which is why half of the time we don't feel like we get what we want, right? And we feel like life is unfair, or life is hard, or you have a hustle, or you're just stressed out and you can't take it, right? You start to have more of those feelings than having the ones that you want. So when you're attached to the outcome and to exactly how it should look and exactly how they should be, and your expectations are very attached to that outcome, it delays the process and it blocks you from the joy or the peace of mind or the ease that you want on your way there. There's this huge conversation that was happening, like between the pandemic and maybe last year, maybe 2022, everybody was talking about soft life, and you had all these videos about soft life and ease and flexibility, and it kind of gave this sense of people not wanting to work for things. But I think ultimately the desire that people were talking about when they were talking about soft life was really more about the expectation that life should be lived in a way that makes you feel good. The expectation that life doesn't have to look like hard work, 16 hours a day, you're stressed out and you're anxious and you're depressed and you still can't pay your bills. It shouldn't look like that in order for it to be a good life, right? And I think when people heard soft life, it suddenly became a negative kind of connotation for some people, because they were like, oh, they just want to be lazy and expect that life is going to be nice. No, that's not it. It's not about expecting life to be nice while you're lazy. It's just having a really great expectation of life and not feeling like you have to kill yourself in order to get it. And there is nothing wrong with that. But what happens to block our expectations is that we're stuck in these habits, and the habits that we're stuck in prevent us from getting the wealth and the amazing love and abundance that we want. It's really simple. So I'm going to give you an example now of how I was definitely blocking my expectations of love. In a previous life, when I was not studying all of this stuff that I'm teaching you guys now, I was very caught up in my love partner having to look a particular way, having to behave a particular way, and not really, I think, putting out the kind of energetic expectation that would bring me what I wanted. So, when I say you get what you expect, I decided I'm going to date an old boyfriend. Or even he wasn't even a boyfriend at the time, but somebody that I really liked way back when. I decided I go and date him now because we were both available. And it's like in my mind, I kept thinking about all the different things I didn't like about him, all the different ways that he doesn't show up, that I don't like. I would criticize myself a lot, right? I would criticize him, and then I would be like, oh, okay. I have to get over that he's like this. I can't just, everything just jump to this conclusion. So I was complaining about things quite a bit. I wouldn't necessarily complain to him, but I would complain to my girlfriends. I would complain to this one and that one, and I would criticize. I just found myself in this constant loop. Now, granted, the guy was not being a fabulous person, but guess what happened? I was getting exactly what I was expecting from him. So I wasn't expecting him to be this amazing person that I was just really looking towards seeing. I was letting the complaining and the criticism creep in. And so every single time that I would speak out of my mouth, what I did not admire or what I did not like, I was actually perpetuating the expectation that he was going to show up in those negative ways. And then nothing was nicer than hooking up with my girlfriends on, say, a Friday evening and actually doing this catastrophizing and talking about, oh, man stay, and how that's why I don't want this kind of man or that kind of man because of my expectation. But just based on the fact that I'm talking about how men are, I was setting up an expectation for the type of love experience I was going to have, and I was getting the exact same thing. Now, what's funny about that, guys, is that sometimes we think that, well, I've changed, Stacey. I'm not talking about those things anymore. That used to happen a long time ago, or that was just the other day. I tried to change how I'm talking now so that it don't sound the same way and I don't sound like I'm doing. While that is all well and good, guys, you have already set some expectations into the world. So even if you may get this new person now that comes into your life, right? You get this new woman, like let's say you're a guy now, you get this new woman that comes into life because you had all these previous expectations out there. It's like physics, you put out this energy into the ether. You have all of this energy out there about women and how they're going to be with you and whatever else. That when you finally get this woman into your life now, she may actually be a good woman. But because you have all of this stuff, this backlog of negative expectations, then surprisingly, you start to have these experiences with this person that seemed like the exact thing that you wanted before. It's like the expectations of old start to creep in and the behaviors of the person start to change. Or maybe that's the only thing you can see. Maybe the person's fine, but because you have built up all of this in your past, your thought process starts to pick out the negative things about the person, and that's all you can see. So sometimes you even get what you want, but your old expectations that are saying to you that, yeah, you're not going to get the love of your life or whatever, or the person that you get going to be miserable and they're going to do this and that, it messes up the experience that you are currently having. So listen to me carefully, guys. To master the art of great expectation, you really have to focus on how you feel right now. You have to focus on you joyfully anticipating, realizing the experience that you want, not focusing on thoughts that come up that say, this person is this, and finding things to nitpick and criticize. Do not put your expectations in the other person's bucket. Put your expectations in your bucket, your energy bucket that says, this is the feeling that I want to create. This is the feeling I want to have. And therefore, I'm going to focus my energy on that. And whether it's this person that I have in my life right now, or the person that I am attracting, I know that ultimately I'm going to have the full experience that I want. Right? So if you're single and looking for a meaningful relationship, it's very easy to get frustrated if it doesn't happen right away. But focusing on yourself, focusing on the self-love and enjoying your life as it is can really help you to stay in that positive vibration and help you move towards the desire of your heart, right? So love, like any other seed, it's going to take time to grow. And so you have to trust the process and trust the timing of the universe so that you will be ready when it comes. Okay? And the card that I wanted to share that we talked about this morning a little bit earlier when I had tea time is we want to share this card of trusting the universe, right? And the affirmation on the card says, I know that there is no need to chase or rush to dominate, to succeed. All that I desire has already been given to me. Everything that you desire has already been given to you. Everything that you desire has already been given to you. You just need to be prepared to access it when the time comes. Step away from the complaining. Step away from the criticizing. Step away from the concern. Step away from commiserating with other people about the misery. Step away from catastrophizing the situation and step powerfully into the art of great expectation. All right. So thanks so much for joining, guys. That was the conversation today, how to really nurture and create the art of great expectations, because you do get what you expect. So take care until next time.